Hey guys, this is Rudy coming to you live from Palm Beach, Florida. It is November the 30th. It's the last day of November. So it's a day when people are going to basically take a little bit of profit on the markets, especially the traders, to make sure they have a good month that they've booked. Obviously, there's a lot of profit to take in the energy sector right now. In addition to that, we have the OPEC meeting, which is kind of a little bit up in the air right now. But I thought what we could do is we could take a look at what was actually going on in the energy market today in the sector. So let me just minimize myself a little bit on screen here, and we take a look at Bloomberg, where we can see the sector performance today. If you were invested in information technology or healthcare, you probably didn't have a bad day. I do have some IT stocks and positions that I hold through a couple of long positions that I have in ETFs like SPY. Obviously, by now, you know I'm in healthcare as well. But if you did not invest in information technology or healthcare, you pretty much had a bad day, especially if you're an energy investor, which, as Mr. Oxy, you know by now, that includes me. So this is the Bloomberg snapshot of the sector performance today. And what's interesting here in terms of the way in which they've displayed the sector performance is that if you look at IT a little bit up today and healthcare a little bit up today, and then you look at consumer discretionary communication services, et cetera, it goes down, 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 down from there. And what is this dark strip over here? Well, that happens to be energy. So if I had to don my Mr. Oxy cap, then I would have to assume that if you're an energy investor like I am, then a negative overall sector performance of 5.37% is not necessarily good news. If we scroll a little bit down here and we look at the headlines, we can see a little bit about the S&P. There's a $39 billion deal there. But then here's the headlines. Oil declines as OPEC struggles for consensus on an outlook plan. Asian stocks start the new month lower. Dollar gains market to wrap. I would not be surprised if people take a little bit of profit in the energy sector. It's been on a tear, and we've seen some stocks like Occidental Petroleum move over the past month or so from a low of around $8 to a very recent high of about $16. So if you timed it right, you're up 100% on Occidental Petroleum. And if you didn't time it badly, and that well, and you were just in the market, in the energy market, invested anyway, like I am, long on shares like Total and Enbridge and Pembina, has been a pretty good month in the energy market overall. So I'm going to come back to that in a second. But what I wanted to do is make a quick video, because today is November the 30th, which means tomorrow is Tuesday, December the 1st. It's the start of a new month. And on Wednesday afternoon, I am going to have my quarterly call with investor relations at Occidental Petroleum. So if you have any questions you'd like me to include as I talk to Occidental Occidental Petroleum investor relations people on Wednesday afternoon, please make sure you get your questions to me ASAP, preferably sort of by lunchtime on Tuesday, your time, wherever you might be, because then I can include some of your questions in my discussion that I'm going to have with Occidental Petroleum on Wednesday afternoon of this week. I want to take a look at the headline that says oil declines as OPEC struggles for consensus on an outlook plan. I don't particularly like Bloomberg as a news source. It's just part of the mainstream media fake news narrative. So I'm going to go to OPEC oil instead. I hope you can see it okay here. I can minimize my little screenshot a little more. And we look at the headline here. It says OPEC oil output soars as production cut decision looms. So this is kind of what's going on in the background. But first and foremost, it's important for you to know that the fact of the matter is, it is November the 30th. And if I'm a trader and I'm invested in energy, I would probably take a little bit of profit off the market as well, just to kind of have a positive balance in the ledger. And in addition to that, of course, you've got this background macro event, which is OPEC's meeting. Driven by faster than expected comeback of Libyan oil production, So to be fair, Libyan oil production is really, really small in terms of global output, but OPEC, on the other hand, is really, really large in terms of global output. And definitely OPEC has a significant impact on the market in general. The crude output jumped in November by 750,000 barrels per day. That would be quite an interesting statistic for people who are invested in Occidental Petroleum, because in the past quarter, Occidental produced approximately 1.2 million barrels per day, which effectively means that Occidental was producing more oil than OPEC's crude output for the month of November on average. It is the fifth consecutive increase in the cartel's production, the monthly Reuters survey showed on Monday. I'm not into scaremongering and fear-mongering, so this to me is not that relevant, but certainly as a macro thesis, it is a headline that we should pay attention to. The 13 members of OPEC have produced a total of 25.31 million barrels per day in November, a massive 750,000 barrels per day increase from October, as Libya's oil production rose by nearly 700,000 barrels per day. Collectively, that is meaningful and obviously impacts the production and supply demand curve as far as the macro thesis relates to energy in general. OPEC's crude production in November was the fifth increase in output since the 22.69 million barrels per day low the cartel was estimated to pump in June, which was their lowest level of OPEC production since the 1991 Gulf War. We can obviously understand that as well, due to the massive impact of the coronavirus on the oil and energy market sector as a whole, as demand just plummeted and supply as a result immediately became an oversupply of production in the oil market as we know it. The United Arab Emirates, which has been rumored to be reconsidering its position in OPEC, that's an interesting little sidebar, increased its oil production by 90,000 barrels per day, but it was complying with its quota. Libya, which is exempted from the OPEC production cuts, single-handedly offset the compliance with the cuts, which, as per Reuters survey, stood at 102% in November. As we sort of gradually make our way out of this coronavirus pandemic, I think there's a really good probability that demand is going to outstrip existing supply, which is going to lead to a further spike in oil prices, and as a result, probably a spike to some of the share prices of some of the major oil and energy and gas producers. Libya's oil production has returned to 1.25 million barrels per day. It's kind of interesting as a statistic, because Libya, as a country, at 1.25 million barrels per day, is generating or pumping approximately the same amount of barrels per day as Occidental Petroleum, which is your and my favorite company. Guys, really the purpose of this video is just to let you know that I haven't gone away. I haven't jumped off a cliff somewhere, enjoying the recent spike in Occidental Petroleum stock prices. I am alive and well. Everything is great. And I did want to make a quick video to remind you that if you have any questions related to Occidental Petroleum, to get it to me as soon as possible, so that I can include your content, questions, and information, or even comments when I meet with Occidental Investor Relations on Wednesday afternoon, December the 2nd. So on that note, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. I did want to check in and say hi. If you like my videos, as usual, please subscribe. As soon as I have concluded the call with Investor Relations on Wednesday, I will record another video and give you an update on that one as well. So for now, that's it. Stay safe, take care, stay away from the Rona, and let me know what your Occidental questions are. Don't forget to click the subscribe button. This is Rudy for Best Investor, signing off, saying all the best. See you soon. Bye.